Have you ever wondered why the first step to loving others is to love yourself? It's a question that's often brushed aside, but it's the foundation of all our relationships. Self-love. It's a concept that's so essential, yet often overlooked. You see, it's not about narcissism or being self-absorbed. No, it's far from that. Self-love is about acknowledging your worth, embracing your strengths, and accepting your flaws. It's about setting boundaries and respecting your own needs. It's about forgiving yourself for past mistakes and allowing yourself to grow. There's a common misconception that self-love is selfish, but let's dispel that myth right now. Self-love is the opposite of selfish. It's about nurturing your own well-being so you can be the best version of yourself for others. Because how can you pour from an empty cup? Self-love is not about being self-absorbed or narcissistic. It's about getting in touch with ourselves, our well-being, and our happiness. Consider Jack, a man who appeared to have it all: a great job, a loving family, and a bustling social life. From the outside, it seemed like he was living the dream. A high-flying executive in a prestigious company, weekends filled with laughter and joy with his family, and evenings spent with friends, sharing stories over dinner and drinks. He was the epitome of outward success, but beneath the surface, a different story was unfolding. Jack was fighting a silent battle, a struggle that no one else could see. He was wrestling with feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and an overwhelming sense of emptiness. Despite his many accomplishments, he felt like he was never enough. His lack of self-love began to cast a shadow over every aspect of his life. His relationships with his loved ones were strained as he constantly sought validation and reassurance. He found himself questioning his worthiness of love and belonging, pushing away those who cared about him the most. At work, his inability to appreciate his achievements led him to overwork and burnout. He was always striving for more, never satisfied, always feeling like he needed to prove his worth. His health and well-being took a back seat as he prioritized his career above all else. His social life, once a source of joy and connection, became a platform for comparison and self-criticism. He constantly compared himself to his friends, feeling inadequate and less than. His social interactions turned into a performance, an act put on to hide his true feelings and keep up appearances. Despite his outward success, Jack was not emotionally ready to handle the pressures and expectations that came with it. He was not prepared to navigate the complexities of relationships, the demands of his career, or the challenges of maintaining a healthy social life. His lack of self-love and emotional readiness was affecting his overall quality of life. In his pursuit of external validation, Jack had neglected the most important relationship in his life, the one with himself. He was so focused on pleasing others, achieving more, and fitting in, that he lost touch with his own needs, desires, and feelings. He was living for others, not for himself. Jack was a man who had everything, yet felt like he had nothing. He was surrounded by love, yet felt alone. He was successful, yet felt like a failure. He was living a life many would dream of, yet he was not happy. Jack had everything, yet he felt empty inside. He was missing a crucial ingredient: self-love. He had forgotten to love and appreciate himself, to recognize his worth, to acknowledge his achievements, and to cater to his own needs and feelings. And it was this lack of self-love that was keeping him from truly enjoying and appreciating the life he had built for himself. One day, Jack's life took a turn. He found himself standing before a mirror, looking into his own eyes that were brimming with confusion and self-doubt. It was an ordinary day, but something was extraordinarily different. He had just ended a relationship, and in the echo of its aftermath, he was confronted with his own reflection, his own self. He realized he had been seeking love from others, trying to fill a void that only he himself could fill. The breakup was painful, but it served as a catalyst, a wake-up call. It was as if a veil had been lifted from his eyes, unveiling a profound truth. Love, he discovered, wasn't something to be sought externally but to be cultivated within. He started questioning his own worth, his own identity. He began to explore his inner world, to understand his emotions, his desires, his fears. This was the moment Jack understood that before he could truly love others, he needed to learn to love himself. Jack's journey was not easy, but it was necessary. Like a mythical hero, Jack embarked on his quest for self-love, a journey that transformed him from the inside out. It was a process, a series of steps that he took deliberately, each one bringing him closer to the person he wanted to be. The first step was acceptance. Jack learned to accept himself, his strengths, his weaknesses, his flaws, and his victories. He realized that he was a work in progress, and that was perfectly okay. His imperfections didn't make him less deserving of love, especially his own. The next step was self-care. Jack began to treat himself with kindness and gentleness, much like how he would treat a dear friend. He nourished his body with healthy food, exercised regularly, and took time to engage in activities he enjoyed. He realized that caring for his physical well-being was an essential part of self-love. And then came the step of self-reflection. Jack took the time to look inward to understand his thoughts, feelings, and reactions. He journaled, meditated, and gradually, he learned to recognize and manage his emotions. This emotional readiness was crucial. It allowed him to respond to situations rather than react, to make choices that were aligned with his values and goals. The final step was forgiveness. Jack learned to forgive himself for past mistakes and let go of guilt and regret. He realized that these were chains holding him back, and by forgiving himself, he was free to move forward. This transformation had a profound impact on Jack's relationships. He was now able to give love without expecting anything in return, and to receive love without questioning its sincerity. His relationships became more meaningful, more fulfilling. His overall happiness increased, not because his circumstances changed, but because he changed. Jack's transformation didn't happen overnight, but with each step, he became more emotionally ready to give and receive love. His journey wasn't easy, but it was necessary. And it's a journey we can all embark on, to cultivate self-love and to be emotionally ready for the love that life has to offer. Jack's story gives us a valuable insight into the power of self-love. Diving into the profound depths of Jack's journey, we've seen a transformation that can only be described as extraordinary. It's a transformation that began with the recognition of his own worth, a fundamental pillar of self-love. From Jack's journey, we've learned that self-love is not a destination, but rather a continuous process. It's about acknowledging our strengths and weaknesses and understanding that we are perfectly imperfect. It's about being kind to ourselves even in the face of adversity or failure. It's about recognizing our own value and understanding that we deserve to be loved, not only by others, but more importantly, by ourselves. And what does this self-love look like in practice? It's about setting boundaries and prioritizing our own needs. It's about taking care of our physical health, our mental health, and our emotional well-being. It's about celebrating our accomplishments, no matter how small, and understanding that every step forward is a victory. But self-love doesn't exist in a vacuum. It has a profound impact on our relationships with others. When we love ourselves, we set the standard for how we want to be treated. We attract people who respect us, value us, and love us for who we are. We form relationships that are healthy, balanced, and fulfilling. Moreover, self-love is the key to emotional readiness. When we love ourselves, we are better equipped to handle the ups and downs of life. We are resilient in the face of adversity. We are able to navigate the complexities of our emotions with grace and wisdom. And we are prepared to enter into relationships with a sense of self-assuredness and emotional maturity. In essence, self-love is the cornerstone of emotional readiness and the foundation for meaningful relationships. Just like Jack, we all have the capacity to harness the power of self-love. It's a journey that starts with a single step, and it's a journey that can transform our lives in ways we could never imagine. Self-love is the cornerstone of emotional readiness and the foundation for meaningful relationships. So where does this leave us? We've journeyed together through the landscape of self-love, from the stirring tale of Jack to the transformative power of embracing one's emotions. We've seen how turning points can alter the course of our lives, how transformation is not just possible but inevitable when we choose to love ourselves. We've discovered the strength that lies within us when we choose self-love over self-doubt. This strength empowers us to face life's challenges, to build healthier relationships, and to stand tall in our truth. But remember, this is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. It's a journey that requires patience, courage, and a lot of introspection. It's a journey that will challenge you, but also reward you in ways you can't even imagine. So, as we wrap up, I encourage you to embark on your own journey of self-love. Remember, the journey to self-love begins with a single step. Are you ready to take that step today?